If you're a salon or spa owner working nonstop, barely paying yourself, and terrified to step away because it might all fall apart, you're not alone. Most salon and spa owners were never taught the business side of this industry, and that makes it feel impossible to get ahead. Welcome to the station, where we give you the structure, systems, and strategies to step into the CEO seat and lead like the legend you are. Hey friends, welcome back to the station, the podcast for salon and spa owners who are ready to build businesses that don't just survive, but actually thrive without them being behind the chair all the time. I'm Bree, founder of the Beauty Biz Agency, and as always, I've got my co-host, co-founder, and bestie here with me. Hey Chandra, how are you?
Hello. Doing good this morning. It's a little crazy, but good.
Crazy as life, girl, crazy as life. All right, everybody, let me ask you this. Have you ever looked around your salon and thought, inside, we are absolutely amazing, but outside, it feels like nobody even really knows what we stand for or that we exist? Well, if you have, you're not alone. There are so many salon owners who feel like the industry's best kept secret. Your work is solid, the team is talented, your salon is gorgeous, but the brand, it doesn't stick in people's mind. People walk out and they're not really sure how to describe you. Clients don't really talk about you, and you feel like you're constantly hustling just to be noticed. Well, that's going to end right here today because we are going to talk about it. Branding isn't about logos. It's not about fonts. It's not about color palettes. Branding is the story that people tell about you when you're not around, when you're not in a room, when they aren't in your studio. It's what makes people remember you, makes them choose you, and makes them come back to you, most importantly. If you've been maybe just blending in instead of standing out, then this episode is definitely for you. But before we get into it, we are going to tell you about one of our BBA members who came to us with everything looking really good on the surface. Honestly, she had a beautiful salon, a really talented team, a great, strong service menu, but the business, it just blended in. Her social media was polished, I guess you could say, but it didn't really say anything. Clients couldn't explain what made that salon different. Retail was really, really flat. They did nothing with it. Add-ons weren't happening at all. Pre-booking was spotty at best. It was just like one of those quick cuts or super cuts. I hate to say it, but that's kind of what it was. So we worked together to kind of rebuild her brand, not by adding services, not by changing prices. So many people think that's what it's about, but we did it by tightening the message and making the guest experience intentional. From the way the phone was answered to how consultations started to the kind of content that was being posted on social media. She stopped trying to be for everyone and started owning exactly who they were for, and that is key. 5 months later, her referrals tripled. Retention shot up, and the team, they weren't just showing up to go to work anymore, they were actually invested. The salon went from it has potential to it has an amazing presence. Chandra, I know you remember this. What do you think was the biggest shift that they made that kind of made everything finally click for this salon owner, the team, and the brand itself?
Yeah, I do think that consistency with the guest experience was huge. And them just dialing in like this is who we are. When you come here, this is what you get. This is what you should expect. This is how you're gonna leave. And I think dialing that in really made their team also feel like they have more of a purpose and they understand more of the expectation that is set for them. And like if you're branding yourself as being something that is a high standard or that higher level, your team also kind of aligns with that and they start to present themselves in that high standard and that higher level, and then the clients feel that and that becomes your brand and that becomes like what your salon is about. And it doesn't have to be that, but it can be whatever your vibe is, that you want to have for your business. But I think tightening in that guest experience for her and really, really nailing all of that down really made a huge impact.
Absolutely. I think you said a lot that was very profound there. I think most salon branding is surface level, right? It's those logos that we talked about, that pretty font, the polished everything looks perfect on Instagram, right? Just like it drives me nuts when I see that on Instagram. And then the owner kind of wonders why it doesn't create loyalty or referrals. It doesn't look real. It looks fake. It looks staged. If you want a brand that works, one that people talk about, one that keeps clients actually coming back, one that gets you noticed, you have to nail 5 things at least, and we're gonna talk about those right now. The first one is identity. Who are you and why do you exist? Your brand is who you are, or that's what it should be. It's how your team describes where they work. It's what your clients say when they leave, when they're talking to their friends, when they're talking to their family. It's the feeling people carry after being in your space. And at the center of all of that has to be your why. Why does this salon exist beyond making money, right? What do I want people to say when they talk about us? What do I want us to be known for long after the guest leaves or after, somebody has come to us for the first time? If your brand feels very confusing and messy, it usually means your why is not clear at all, or it means you haven't communicated it well to the clients. Chandra, we see this happen quite often, but when owners finally define their why, it seems like things suddenly fall into place. Why does that happen? And can you think of an example where you saw that where it made a very big impact?
Yeah, I mean, I think the owners sort of have a surface level why, or maybe at one point they had a really deep why and then they forgot because things got crazy and they stopped living that, And I think when they redefine it and they start actually making decisions based off of that, moving the business in the direction of that, and actually using that as the basis for everything that they do, then it just really changes the whole trajectory of the business within the employees, the clients, like everybody starts to see that. And I think even what I've seen, with our members is when we first sit down with them and they're saying like, yeah, we're like, what's your why? And they have to sort of kind of know, but then they have to dig deeper. And once they start to figure that out, like when I've seen that firsthand, it's amazing because then they're like, it's just like having an employee handbook in a way, right? Like if you have your employee handbook and you're like, these are the policies, these are the things, these are the expectations, we all follow it, right? It gives you a path, it gives you a roadmap, it gives you something. And so defining that why, I think, does that same thing for the owner. It gives the owner a path, it gives the owner a roadmap for literally everything in your business. If you know what your why is and you're going to brand your business to follow that why, then it's all going to work. Right. It's all going to come together and not be chaotic and not make any sense. And so I think that's, when I've seen that with our owners firsthand, that's what we've noticed. Like it starts to make everything have a purpose of where that business is going.
And I think we see 2 types of people. We see those that have the very surface level why or no why at all, right? Kinda, because when it's surface level, you really don't have one. Or we see the other type that have this long, poetic type of why that doesn't resonate in any way. It's like they went into ChatGPT and they're like, "Give me a why that sounds good for being a salon owner." And it doesn't resonate with that owner, with the team, with what they want to build in any way. Your why is very, very personal, or it should be. And Chandra is what? Right. It should be behind every decision you make for yourself, for your business, for your team moving forward. The second thing is you have to know who you're for. You have to stop trying to please and service everybody out there. And I think this is where a lot of owners just kind of get stuck because they're trying to be for everyone. And when you are for everyone, you don't really stand out to anyone. I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. You don't need your whole town to love you. You need the right clients who value what you do, the ones that come back regularly, and the ones that tell their friends about you. Those are the people that you need. And you've got to ask yourself, What does our ideal guest really care about? What do they want? What do they care about? What kind of experience are they looking for? Why do they choose us? And why would they leave us? I think that is a very, very important question. When you know who your ideal guest is, things like pricing, policies, social media content, and even the vibe in your space, like Chandra said, they all start to kind of make a little more sense. Chandra, have you seen a salon just take off once they stopped trying to serve everyone and they started owning who they were really for?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've seen this a few times when they finally sort of define exactly what it is that their business is about and who they're trying to market to and who they want to bring in. It starts to weed out the people that aren't good, right? Like you've all had those clients you want to fire. Like when you really hone that in, it weeds those people out and it really starts to attract the people that you want, which you're going to be busier. Even if you're marketing to a niche group or whatever, you're going to still be busier because there's plenty of people in those, that space. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen when owners finally start to do that. And then all of a sudden they start getting busier. Their stylists are getting busier. People are sending in referrals. And it's because now people know this is the type of space I want to be in. And they tell other people that are similar to them that they know will enjoy this type of space. And so it really starts to take off. It doesn't happen overnight, but over time you notice like all of a sudden you're getting more calls, you're getting more referrals, all those things start happening. And so yeah, we've seen this quite a few times with our salon owners.
Yeah, and I think the why and this kind of go hand in hand. And honestly, it's not just about your clients. That's important, who you serve. It goes into your team too. You know the right type of people to hire, right? Which in turn is going to affect your culture, and everybody is going to be happier. When you surround yourself with like minded people, life is beautiful. Like it's a beautiful thing. Number three is your online presence is your first impression. Very important. Your Instagram, it's not your brand, but it is often the handshake before somebody walks in. That's kind of how I like to put it. If your page is cluttered, if it looks generic, if it's just hair photos with no message, it's never going to do the job that it needs to do. Your online presence should make it very clear in seconds who you help, what you offer, why it matters. Your bio, photos, captions, and links, they should all sound like you. They should all match the experience that guests actually have in your salon. Because nothing is going to kill a brand faster than when someone books off your Instagram, walks into your salon, and feels like they stepped into a totally different business. What's something that you see salon owners post that looks maybe busy, but doesn't actually build their brand, Chandra?
Honestly, like I feel like I see a lot of things that don't even make sense. Like I'll see people posting these posts or stories that don't even always have anything to do with their business, or they're just sharing things from product companies or putting things on there that they don't show their team. They don't show, it's just random posts of nothing. And then they're frustrated. I post all the time, but I never get anything from it. And I'm like, if I go to your page, I have no clue what the heck you're even trying to get from any of this because it's all over the place. So I think really, when you're not putting, like you said, exactly what you want your brand to be into your social media, it's very confusing and you're not going to attract the right people.
Yeah, it's really cool for your team too when you get a new guest that comes in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I saw you on social media. Like, I love your personality. I love what you had to say." Like, they feel like they know you before they even come in, and it makes life easier. I'm telling you, they are going to spend more when they relate to you and they feel like they know you. All right, number 4, if the guest experience is off, the brand is never going to stick in anybody's brain. It's just not. You can't market your way out of a bad guest experience. Not possible in any way, shape, or form. If the systems are not consistent, if the flow feels sloppy, if the energy is off, that is what people are going to remember. Strong brands are built through consistency. From the greeting to the consultation to how confident guests feel during the service to checkout, even every detail is either going to strengthen or weaken your brand. Chandra, have you ever been to a salon that looked amazing, maybe online? You saw their online presence, right? And you were like, all right, this is amazing. But it felt totally different in person. And what do you think caused that disconnect?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually had this happen a few times, but I think sometimes the online presence, you start making it feel like it's going to be like you think you put out there what people want to see. Like you might make it look really luxury, or you might make it look really plant oriented, whatever that is with you do with your website. And then when you walk into that business and you get somebody at the front desk who doesn't acknowledge you, or they don't care that you're there, or they kind of have like an attitude, and then the stylist takes you back and just gives you not a very good consultation, and you've seen all these, luxury products on their website, maybe you've seen some different things advertised online for them or their social media, and then they don't even have that stuff when you go into the business. So I've had that happen a few times where I try places. I'll see stuff and I'm like, I'm gonna go get a blowout. I just want to see, how this salon operates, or this looks really cool online. Let me go check it out. And then kind of a letdown when you go in and you're like, I saw you guys doing this stuff on social media and none of that stuff is happening in here, and it doesn't have a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, number 5, if the team doesn't carry the brand, it dies. I think this is one of the most important points. A brand can't just live in the owner's head or their thoughts or their vision. If your team doesn't understand it, if they don't believe in it, if they don't carry it out, it is going to die. That's all there is to it. Your team is a huge part of the brand. They are your brand. They are the ones delivering that experience every single day. So you have to anchor the brand in them. Talk about values, not just visuals. Break it down into simple everyday actions. This is who we are. This is what we do. Call it out when somebody isn't doing it well. And you need to revisit these things very, very frequently. When your team knows what the brand is, and they see themselves as part of it, your culture literally becomes unstoppable. Unstoppable. What's something you've seen work really well when an owner needed their team to carry the brand instead of just knowing about it, Chandra?
Well, I mean, definitely you have to be putting this front and center in front of your team all the time. And I would say this is something that even changed for my business when we really started driving this home and getting everybody aligned. It's probably the hardest part of your job with your employees. Like it's easier to train them most of the time on how to do a haircut than to actually like follow a guest experience the way you want it to be done. And so really training your team, like I find making sure that you have sort of an onboarding process that is really driving it into them over and over again. Like we do what we call an immersion for my salon. And it's like we say everybody has to drink the Kool-Aid, because if you don't get aligned with these things, you can't work here, because this is who we are. This is what we're about. And so we're very protective of that. And we do monitor it and make sure everybody is doing their guest experience or holding the values of the business, very strongly. And once you get that driven into them, I think it gets really easy. And then they actually start to be the ones to uphold it when you have new team members and they're like, hey, trying to help everybody get to where they need to be and doing everything the way that they're supposed to be doing it. And I think that's the biggest thing is you have to keep putting it front and center. You have to keep drilling it into them, because that's the hardest thing I think sometimes to get. You're really training them to sort of do kind of fit in your box a little bit, which, that sounds bad. But at the same time, if you're going to have a consistent brand, they all have to be working in that same direction and doing the same thing. And so you've got to really put that in your onboarding over and over and over again.
Well, and it's there's such a fine line, and I think this is one of the reasons that people kind of shy away from this, salon owners do, is because yes, you want them to live in that box, right? They have to be and believe in the brand, but they're also individuals and they have their own personalities and they have their own ways. And so you've really got to find that good mix of this is who we are, this is what we believe, this is what we do, yet be yourself as well. And so that's really important because I think there's two extremes. Salon owners either put them so tight in this box that people can't be themselves, and we are artistic people, that is never going to work in this industry, or they have no brand at all, and everybody is their own individual brand inside of a salon. And that is just complete chaos. And so, something that Chandra does very, very well in her salon is allowing her team members to be who they are, show their personalities. She's a great leader, but being able to do that, yet reflecting it all back to the brand and their beliefs and their values and things like that. So if you guys need a good example to look at, check her salon out because she is fantastic when it comes to this. Okay, let's make this all practical. Here are 4 steps that you can take this week to tighten your brand and stop just blending in. Number 1, clarify your why. Take 30 minutes. 30 minutes, yes. Think about it. Think about it in depth. Write it out. What does this business do? Why does it exist beyond money? What do I want people to say, right, when they talk about us? This is going to become your filter for every decision that you make. Number 2, define your ideal guest. Be specific. Who energizes you? What matters most to them? Like time, experience, results. Does your space, pricing, and content reflect those things that you're thinking about? Number 3, audit your brand inside and out. You want to walk through your business like a guest. I mean, every single part of it. You want to do it online, right? Is your Instagram and website, are they clear? Do they show who you really are? In person, does the guest experience match what you promise? And then pick 3 things that feel off and try to get those fixed in the next 30 days. The next step is anchor the brand in your team. Hold a 20 or 30-minute huddle, meeting, whatever. Share your why. Define what the brand looks like in daily actions. And it's okay to reintroduce this. This is something new. This is what we're going to do from here on out. And then make sure that you're watching after you do that and celebrate those people who are living it, right? You have to remind them constantly that they are the brand. They are the brand. Chandra, out of these steps, which one usually makes the biggest shift right away for owners?
I think defining your why. I mean, once you have a clear path yourself, then you can start putting all the other things that matter into place.
Well, yeah, I agree with that a million percent because every single decision you make comes from that, right? And so if you don't have that, nothing that you're doing makes sense. It may sound harsh, but it's absolutely true. I have had to audit my business a million times and go back and be like, why are we even doing this? And what does this even mean? Because it has nothing to do with who we are and what we stand for and what my why is as a business owner. So it's really, really important, guys. If you have not audited your business in a while and figured out your why and gone through everything, you really, really need to do that. All right, let's get to this week's listener's question. It came from Kara in Montana. Chandra, she asked, what do you do when a stylist wants to leave and take all of the client information and clients with them?
This is a never ending challenge in this industry, I swear. I mean, for me, I think it's really, you have to set that expectation up front. People need to know what your policies are around these things. If you don't have something written, or what happens with client information, 9 times out of 10, that information is given to the business. If you give that information away, you can get in trouble for that. If the client is contacted by that stylist and they didn't want that person to have their information, that person can then come after your business and sue you for that, or can, cause a lot of problems for you. And so I think, if for me, if somebody wants to leave and they're not a good fit for my business, then good luck somewhere else. And if those clients are going to go find them, they're going to find them on social media, they're going to find them out in the world, they're going to find them if the client wants to leave. So there's no sense in being crazy and holding information hostage, but at the end of the day, it is private information that was given to the business. And so we just chalk it up like that. Like, this is private information. It's part of the salon. You want to go find your clients on social media, go follow them all. Like, it doesn't matter. So I think people need to stop being so crazy about it, but just be black and white. Like, this is the situation with client information. That's what I got.
Yeah, and something else that I wanna say, and I think everything you said was great, is I know that this feels personal. As an owner, I get it, but you cannot get emotional, and you cannot go into panic mode. When owners start gossiping or bashing a stylist who's leaving or who has left, it's horrible, and don't say that you don't do it. because I can guarantee you every single salon owner out there has done it. I've done it. Not proud of it, but I've done it. It makes clients trust the stylist that's leaving more or that left more and the owner less. That is the reality of the situation. You have to keep it professional. You have to. And then you have to communicate clearly with the clients too. If a stylist leaves, you need something like Chandra said, a system, right? A proactive message that's ready to go. It needs to be ready to go, stating, so and so is no longer with our salon, but don't worry, our team is here to take care of you. We will help you transition to a stylist who fits your needs and make sure your experience stays seamless. You want to make it about continuity and care, not drama. There are some clients that are going to want to stay with your salon. That's just the reality. And it's not tacky to send out a message like this. That's taking care of your team and taking care of your business, right? You have to focus on the retention that you can control. Sure, you're going to lose some of them. That's the reality. But many of them, they are going to stay. And like Chandra said, protect yourself legally and financially. That is very, very, very important. And the last thing that I'm going to say is if you don't have the systems in place that Chandra said, you need to learn from it and you need to tighten up those systems and get them in place ASAP. Absolutely ASAP, because it is a legal liability if you're not careful. People do not understand that point, but it is. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge. When you get these things right, a stylist leaving becomes a bump in the road, not a disaster. And it is so much easier when that happens. All right, friends, here it is. Your brand, once again, isn't your logo. It's not your fonts. It's not your Instagram feed. It's none of those things. It's how people feel when they think about you. And it's what they say when you're not around. When you get your identity, your ideal guest, your online presence, your guest experience, your team alignment, when you get all of those things locked in, that's when your salon will stop being a best kept secret and it starts being the business that everybody talks about. So, our challenge to you today is really simple. Don't wait until next quarter or next year when you're less busy, right? Take 30 minutes this week. Clarify your why, define your ideal guest, audit that experience, and anchor it with your team, especially coming into the most busy season of the year for salons. Like, get it done ASAP, and you will start to see a shift in your business. If you are ready to go deeper, we're here for you. We've got you. Head over to www.thebeautybizagency.com. We have some amazing free resources, coaching options, and a community of owners building salons that are structured, profitable, and honestly, worth talking about. Chandra, how can our listeners keep up with everything we've got going on at the Beauty Biz Agency?
Yeah, reach out to us on social media at the Beauty Biz Agency on Instagram or Facebook, and on TikTok at the Beauty Biz Mentors. You can also check us out live on Facebook and YouTube the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. Central, where we answer questions on the air and, just talk about some amazing things and give away some free resources. So make sure you pop on there.
Yeah, don't miss that. We would love to see you guys. That's a wrap on today's episode of The Station. If you loved this episode, do us a favor, like, follow, share, and leave us a review. Reviews help more salon owners find this show and let us know what is resonating with you guys most. Until next time, lead like you mean it and build something worth talking about. Now go out there, make bank, run the show, and ditch that chair. And as always, keep slaying those business goals with a whole lot of swagger.